Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. This week at the round table of dim lighting, we are listening to your voicemails that you left at 1-888-EARPOD-1. Answering the question or completing the sentence.
I said 1 3 times, which I guess was confusing, but if you dial extra numbers.
Yeah, you just get the extension 11, which is us. I could not have survived my teenage years without fill in the blank. Boy. Boy.
Is that all you got to say? You thought I was going to start talking? Boy.
Well, I know, I was just thinking about what I couldn't have survived and actually, you know what? We got a lot of answers that were in when I think about my teenage years and what I couldn't have survived without, I think about whacking off.
Okay, right.
And I'm just saying that apparently many of you also agree with that, because I would say that more than 50% of the answers were people talking about masturbation.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
Am I right? They were. Yes.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, this is not a joke. This is based on knowledge that I have about all the calls that were made.
Over half? Or just a good amount?
I mean, I'm saying over 50% of you.
Well, you know what? Know thyself.
Said that you could not have gotten through your teenage years without masturbating.
Do you think? Okay.
And you know what? I'm right there with you. So we're not going to talk about that other than right now. We're getting it out of our system. That's it. That's all the masturbation talk.
That's kind of what it is, isn't it? Getting it out of your system.
Well,
it doesn't really work that way, though.
It seems to always be ready to go again at some point.
I mean, there is a reset period, but
depends on how old you are.
Oh, really?
The older you get, the longer the reset period gets.
I mean, I do recall when I was really making it into an art form that
testing the limits.
I challenged myself.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see what would happen.
We don't have to talk about this now.
Oh, okay.
We don't have to.
You're the one who brought it up.
No, they brought it up.
And we didn't select any of those.
No.
We're not.
So we could talk about it now.
We decided not to talk about it.
Except now.
I didn't even know we didn't even select those.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to keep it from you.
You culled them.
I didn't think your ears were ready for it. I know it makes you uncomfortable.
I mean, I think I could have survived without it, but I mean, the thing that if I had to do it multiple times, just string them together, that's what I couldn't have survived, because that's a lot of work. That takes a lot.
I don't understand. I lost the plot.
Don't make me say it. If you want to string them together, like rapid succession, when I was testing the limits of, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You still lost?
It gets where it's almost not enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like a duty.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's like you're just a donor.
Right. Yeah.
I gotta get paid.
Oh man, if we keep this up, this would be like me and my dad's podcast.
Yeah, I heard it's really dirty.
He's a dirty boy. I egg him on, it's fun. We're having a good time over there. Speaking of having a good time, I am excited about listening to these voicemails, and I just like it. I'm also, I like have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I like have a good time. Is that what I said?
I like have a good time.
And the best time that I've ever had on the internet was Good Mythical Evening.
Well, that was why I was talking about, I went ahead and just broke the seal and started talking about masturbation.
It has nothing to do with Good Mythical Evening.
Well, but it's the kind of thing we would talk about on there.
It's an adult thing.
We would talk about it there, and we would use more explicit language.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we would.
Because it's an R-rated version of Good Mythical Morning. I gotta say.
If you were there for it.
It made waves last year.
Then you want to be there for it again, because we're doing it Thursday, September 1st. All right, we're doing it that evening. It's one night only, ticketed event exclusively on Moment House. That's the provider. Don't get too worked up.
Yeah.
Grab your tickets at goodmythicalevening.com Friday, or if you're a Mythical Society member, you can get it Wednesday.
Yeah, those society members, they're always getting things early.
But yeah, Good Mythical Evening. It's September 1st, like I said, so I'm already gearing up for it.
Yeah, you gotta make plans for it.
Yeah.
You gotta save up.
I'm gonna challenge myself this year.
In what way?
See how many I can string together. How many Good Mythical Evenings
Oh, okay. Okay, I
I
understand.
only did one evening last time. I'm gonna cram 2 evenings into one this year.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm prepared for that. Yeah. If you don't know, last year Link
Had fun.
he got a little carried away. We knew that we were going to be taking some shots to get ready, but we underestimated how much of a lightweight he is. And as soon as he started talking, I was like, whoa, okay. I thought this was gonna be like a progressive evolution over the course of the night, but it was just like, no.
Bam! Out of the cannon.
Yeah. We are starting full on. So I just basically have made a commitment that I'm gonna be right there with you this time.
Boom.
So now that I know what to expect,
Stevie's not listening to this.
Poor
so.
Stevie. Poor Stevie. She's gonna be the one to have to keep us on track.
Petrified. She was petrified last year. A lot of people watching were petrified.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And it's more fun if you're there.
Let's
Goodmythicalevening.com.
Let's listen to a response. Am I playing these?
Well, you've got the computer.
Okay.
Hi, Rhett and Link. My name is Kat. I could not have survived my teenage years without the lunches that my mom packed for me. Specifically, I had braces for a very long time, so my teeth were always sore, and she would always make me ramen in a thermos, and the noodles would soak up all the liquid.
Oh, yes.
And every time I opened the thermos, it looked like a brain. So I guess I couldn't have survived my teenage years without ramen that looked like a brain. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kat. What a pleasant voice that Kat's got.
She could be in radio.
Be in radio? Be in podcasting, right? Welcome to the future.
No. The radio standard is a little bit above podcasting.
Did your mom ever pack you ramen in a thermos?
I like to go into a bit of a radio voice from time to time. But I got to tell you that I do think that a podcast voice is a little bit more suited to what we're doing right now. But I am full on ready.
To go radio?
To go radio if I have to.
Don't do it.
I'll do it in a heartbeat. I would love to have a late night show where I was talking to people about aliens and weird shit and stuff like that. Like Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast,
I might do that in my old days, in my elder times. Where you just sit there and you listen to people and you give them the benefit of the doubt. You don't question them. You never question the weird shit they're talking about. You just egg them on.
Right.
And you just have a crazy old conversation. I love that idea.
I love it too. You're invited.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it?
I'll work on it.
Huh.
Who's doing Coast to Coast now?
It's still happening. And in fact, I was listening. First of all, just so you know, we're gonna have to do a podcast about aliens before long because
well, they're gonna arrive.
We just keep talking about it so much and we haven't even let the mythical beasts in on the fact that there's lots of alien talk that's been happening around here and between us and amongst friends and you know, my days of extreme skepticism about that, well, I'm still a skeptic, but you know, I don't know, maybe LA's finally getting to me, but we gotta talk about it before long, man. And anyway, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about aliens, which there's a few of them. We won't be breaking any new ground.
Nope.
And the guy was talking about Coast to Coast, and he was saying that like, yeah, you were on Coast to Coast, and he was like, yeah, with the you know the old boy, whatever his name is.
Coast to Coast host.
He's still doing. You said Hasta. So
Coast to Coast Hasta.
Jim.
George Norrie.
Yeah, George Norrie. Yeah, he's still doing it. From 1988 until now. He's still doing it. George Norrie. I can't do an impersonation, but he does take everyone very seriously. That's his shtick. I love it.
Look at what Kat got you on. She got you on aliens. She was just talking about her mom made her ramen in a thermos, dude. My mom would make me a thermos full of stuff, and I would love it.
She didn't make you a thermos. She
would
took out some soup, warmed it up, and put it in.
Have you ever heard about make a pot of soup? Yeah, you're not making the pot. Make a thermos of soup.
She didn't make. She got it. It's canned, man.
Stay out of this.
Your mom was
this is between me and my
mom. Your mom was putting canned soup into your thermos.
You know what else she was putting in there?
More than you were doing.
she was also putting Hamburger Helper in there. That was my jam.
Hold on,
Cheeseburger, Hamburger Helper in a thermos. That was my favorite. It was better as a leftover. Like I loved it so.
How did you eat it out of there? Did you pour it out and eat it with a spoon?
I just dipped it out with a spoon. You were there.
I don't watch that kind of thing when it's happening. Somebody eating Hamburger Helper out of a thermos? I blocked it out.
Because it kept it hot.
Well, I understand that, but then when eating it, you're sticking a spoon all the way down in the bottom of a thermos? What kind of spoon did you have? How big? Your thermos is that big? You got an extra long spoon?
I don't remember that part. Gee, maybe it's all a lie.
I'm disturbed thinking about it.
So I really relate to this ramen. I never had braces. I wish I did. But that ship has sailed.
Well, here's the thing. I had them, and then I was given that, I was given that permanent bottom retainer, because something about the human mouth, the bottom teeth are the ones that like to venture back.
Keep moving.
And then, just not too long ago, 10 years ago, the dentist is like, if that thing's bothering you, we can take it off. He took it off and gave me a retainer that I had to put in, at which point reality intersected with me, which means I don't do things like continue to wear retainers, because that requires a certain level of focus and discipline that I don't have. And so,
well, why did you say, you?
And so my bottom teeth got crooked.
Actually, I can't lift your chin up, dude, or where your chin would be. Tilt your head up.
I'm showing you the outline right there.
Oh my God.
It's very clear. Doing that's not going to show you anything.
Oh yeah, I got you. It's not as bad as mine though.
Well,
mine are janked.
Definitely not as bad as yours. But
janked. But
I will say that most people.
Why did you tell him to remove the retainer? It wasn't bothering you. It had been in there for 30 years.
No, every single time I went to the dentist, they would be like, "Oh, you got a lot of buildup on this retainer."
Oh. Okay, whatever. So, I mean.
But hold on, but I'm saying you shouldn't feel bad about your bottom teeth. I don't know what it is, but bottom teeth being crooked, not really seen as a problem. Just start looking at the bottom teeth of actors on television. American actors. I mean, I'm not talking Brits. Their teeth are all over the place. I'm talking.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I love you. I love you. I love you, England. I'm just, it's a stereotype.
If anyone can take a joke, it's this.
Yeah, you guys have taken over the world, imperialism, all that. We can make some jokes about you. The bottom teeth of American actors are regularly janked.
It doesn't matter.
And
look at me. I'm successful.
Right, but if the top teeth start getting out of whack,
and a lot of that success is emanates from my face.
If the top teeth start getting out of whack, we have to start thinking about casting decisions. Like, okay, does this cop seem like they would have crooked top teeth? Because it's a different thing. It's just a different thing.
Yeah,
nothing against people with crooked top teeth. It's just a different thing. It's a different casting.
You don't have
decision.
anything to say about school lunch?
My mom stopped packing lunch for me before high school, so I didn't take lunch during high school.
Oh yeah, that's true. I actually
did a whole episode of this talking about school lunch on Stevie's podcast, Best Friends Back All Right. You want to check that out.
All right, let's play another one then.
Hey, Are Rhett and Link.
Yo.
My name is Keone, and I could not have survived my teenage years without video games. Let me tell you, that stuff, stress reliever. Okay, y'all are kind of old, so you might not get it, but that's all right. Okay, love you. Bye.
You love us because you love us old guys.
They had video games when we were coming up, man.
Yeah.
They just weren't good.
They weren't good.
They weren't as addictive. They were not as immersive. I mean,
No.
you can only...
They're definitely not as connecting.
Well, think about it. You're watching Mario run sideways. You feel like you are not Mario. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not immersive.
I never once thought I was Mario.
You're not seeing Mario. You're controlling someone else that you're watching.
Never once thought I was Luigi.
But once you move into this first person perspective.
You think that's it?
Now you got something that's addictive in a different way. I'm just kind of making this up as I go, which is most of the time what I'm doing. But I'm just saying. POV, the amount of first person perspective in your gaming experience, that's how you relate the level of addiction.
It's such a huge part of, Lincoln's 17 now for the past, 5 years. It's a huge part of his social life. He connects with his friends playing video games. You know, I understand and respect that, but at a certain point, we're like, let's do the real world thing, especially post pandemic. We had to like shake him out of those habits.
Is he
a little bit.
connecting with any NPCs? Because that's what you got to really watch out for.
What is that?
Oh, you haven't been paying attention.
Is that's
Come on, Dad, get with the program.
What is that? A
non-player character. It's just, an AI generated character in a game that isn't. It's just it's an NPC.
Pertinent to the story?
Yeah, it might be pertinent to the story, but
like
it's not
extra?
Controlled by a person.
Oh yeah, it's
not an avatar.
Okay, yeah. No, he's not.
You don't want to make too big of a connection with an NPC because then you're so.
No, right. These are his real life friends.
But I don't know because a lot of people have a lot of connections to NPCs, and that can lead to
I'll have to ask you.
If your POV is connecting with NPCs,
then you're SOL.
Then you're SOL. Exactly.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
But Lily she never connected with friends playing video games with them, even though she played Overwatch a little bit back when that was the thing.
Yeah, Shepard's our video.
Fortnite.
Shepard's our gamer in the family. He's the one that has his like buddies that they regularly get on there and play together. Locke played like NBA 2K for a while, and then high school rolled around. And he completely stopped playing video games. I just made the decision not to and did other things.
He was just into different things.
Yeah,
I mean. Yeah, for us, it was never, I got Nintendo Power just so I could, I got the subscription just so I could talk the lingo. But I just did not have the commitment to beat any game ever. Like it just did not interest me that much. And it never has since then. Like I know there are certain points when you're currently tempted. You told me 2 days ago
I'm thinking
that
about it.
you wanted to go away for a week and do nothing but play a video game like 24 hours a day.
I didn't say 24.
When you weren't sleeping.
12 to 16.
You wanted to like literally like become a gamer.
Well, okay, I'm glad you brought this up because I have been thinking about it and I just mentioned it to you 2 days ago. But
I said that.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was that I've been thinking about it for a while. It's only that you know about it since then. So, yes, I do have a personality that if you put me in like a challenging environment, which is a video game in a lot of ways, and there's a goal, and so I can get fixated on that. And I actually don't let myself play video games or even games on my phone really because I don't have time right now.
Are you done with Wordle?
Wordle is not every single day anymore. Wordle is like a few times a week. It's not the first thing in the morning. So, but Wordle's not a game. It's a game,
understand.
but yeah. So, but what I've had this idea that maybe in my older age, when I don't have as many responsibilities, that I'll be like, it would be cool to just say like, I'm setting aside a certain amount of time and I'm going to completely immerse myself in one of these incredible games. Having gone away from games after the first Nintendo, pretty much.
You had a Genesis.
Yeah, but that was the same time, same era.
You didn't care.
I didn't even have a Super Nintendo. I didn't even get on that train. So to come back to the system now that is just so advanced and then be like, I'm gonna get lost in this immersive world and I'm just gonna see what it's like to just like eat Cheetos, drink Mountain Dew, have a sleeping bag next to, I'll get a gaming chair. I'll have a gaming chair with like a sleeping bag next to it in like a cabin with a good Wi-Fi. And I'm gonna just
why does it have
myself.
to be a cabin? That has nothing to do with it.
I don't want anyone to see this.
It could be a closet.
Yeah, but I don't want anyone to be close to me.
Well,
I mean, smelling like Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
Yeah, you'll be in a closet.
But I have to come out at some point.
You want to do this for a week.
But so then I started thinking, why wait until I get old and do it? And why not make it into content while I'm still young and people care about the content?
Foray into the gaming.
It's like Rhett takes a week, goes deep into a game like, what's the one that everybody's?
Elden Ring. Elden Ring?
What are the scrolls? That's different.
God, we don't know, man.
Hold on, there's those old scrolls and then there's old rings. And which one's better? I believe that the Elden Ring
is a video game.
Is it one ring or is it many rings? Anyway, the thing I'm worried about is that I'll suck so bad at the mechanics of it because of all the buttons.
That's why VR is gonna bring me back into this.
Man, I've got a VR headset. So do you?
Yeah.
It hurts my face.
It'll just wait for it. Just wait for it.
When is it gonna stop hurting my face, man? I want it to be like Ready Player One.
But you know what? I get it, caller. I couldn't quite understand your name. It was quiet.
Well, it sort of dropped out at that point.
I get it though.
Hey guys, I could not have survived my teenage years without my Crocs. Now, I know what you're thinking, shoes? Not only are they simulating what I imagine walking on clouds is like, they are also reliable and sturdy. Being a free sport athlete, the Croc is the most practical shoe after your sport is over and you want to take off your sweaty footwear. I actually survived a hairy moment in my Crocs too. My mother wasn't paying attention one day when she picked me up from school and thought I was already in the car. I wasn't. She started driving off with my foot underneath the tire. My foot, the Croc, unbroken. That Croc saved my foot. And let's not forget to mention that a Croc can go from cruise control to sport mode real quick with a simple strap maneuver. Anyways, thanks for listening. Have a splendid week. Thanks, guys.
Wow, Elise Myers, thanks for calling us. Didn't she sound like Elise?
Yeah, a little bit. Well,
bit.
I really appreciate the fact
cadence.
that you scripted that before you called in.
Don't expose her.
No, I'm just saying that no, I'm not making fun. I'm saying that.
I mean, you don't call attention to it. No, I liked it too, but
I'm saying I
don't want people to
You're the
think,
one making it seem like it's a problem.
No, I'm not making
if you don't know what you're going to say, you can script it out and call in just like this person
don't
did.
acknowledge it. Make it seem like, you know what? That was a well put together call.
Can I just say it was a well written call?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because I have to believe that it was.
Now you're making people not want to do that because they're going to think
I'm
that you're
never going to say it again. I'm never going to point it out. This is the first caller who read their response.
If we think you're reading your response, we are not going to say that.
I will never acknowledge it. I will never acknowledge it again. Okay, now let's talk about the content. Okay?
Right.
We don't have to have a meta conversation about every call.
I mean, I was hating on Crocs from a distance.
I gotta say, I mean, we're well into summer. I haven't seen you in a public place with those Crocs yet. You wore them one time to my house.
And I was wearing socks.
Yeah.
I put them on this morning because I couldn't find my flip-flops without socks to take the dogs out.
Oh, well that doesn't, yeah.
And my feet immediately feel sweaty, even before they are. And then they get sweaty in the Crocs. Like, I have to wear flip-flops, and I'm not even a particularly sweaty foot person.
I bought some foot sweat deterrent.
Why don't I like the Crocs with the socks. I get it, I understand. It's like they're in and out, and then I like the sport mode, yeah, if you need it, if you're gonna, I didn't know that if your foot got run over while wearing them.
I think that was just luck.
I think that was luck.
I don't think Croc did anything. But I did get some, coming up, I had because I had very sweaty hands and very sweaty feet. As I've gotten older, the problem has got much less pronounced.
Oh, but you couldn't have survived your teenage years without Drysol.
How do you remember the name of that?
Because, I don't know, man. I care about you. I gotta be a repository for the stuff that matters.
Well, there's a new product that is better.
Didn't it work though? It was like you would put a little drop on your hand.
It's the same thing.
And a drop on your other hand, and you rub them together, and then they wouldn't sweat.
Well, it wouldn't sweat is debatable. It wasn't like a miracle cure. You can get Botox in your palms if you've got really like some teens will get Botox in the. Did your glasses have a camera in them? Because you just like the way you grabbed you grabbed your glasses in a way with two hands that you never have, and it was like, does he have those Facebook Ray-Bans? It's like you wearing those Facebook Ray-Bans?
Doing what you're doing. Yes.
First of all, have you seen ads for those? The Facebook Ray-Bans?
No. What do you mean Facebook Ray-Bans?
What? You don't know about this?
No.
This is months old, but I saw an ad recently, and I was like, "Oh, they're still trying to do that."
Ray-Ban about Facebook.
You don't have to give a shit about Facebook. Do you care about Ray-Bans?
Yeah. What are you talking about, dude?
Ray-Ban and Facebook, or Meta, are collaborating on a product that is a stylish pair of classic Ray-Bans that have a camera in them to capture all and share all the moments in your life. You don't know about this, man? You need to look at billboards more. Because there's one on a billboard. That's how I was reminded of it.
You know what? That's good advice.
But I'm
gonna start looking up billboards more.
But it was like in the news in a pretty big way like last year.
I promise you, Rhett, from now on I'm gonna be looking at billboards more.
So I thought that maybe you had those. We don't have to get into a conversation about that, but I think
you're really tangent prone today.
Yeah.
Stay on target, man. We're
Okay.
talking about Crocs.
No, we're talking about hand sweat. So I had dry saw. There's a new product called Carp. Put in Google hand sweat stopper Carp. Because they got all this is I think it was a Kickstarter. They have all kinds of stuff.
Carp? Like the fish?
Yeah, there it is.
Carpe. No. Carpe Max, like Carpe Diem.
So they have them for your feet, your hands. It's probably all the same stuff, maybe in different concentrations.
Palmar hyperhidrosis. That's what you had.
And it runs in the family because my kids have it too. So I basically
hand lotion. This is not a sponsor, of course.
So I started. You've seen the little. Speaking of like Crocs, you've seen those little leather slipper things that I've been wearing, which are like kind of like leather Crocs.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks ago when the weather hadn't quite heated up yet, I could wear those and be like,
right,
this is okay. I tried wearing them yesterday.
Oh boy.
And, or was it today? Did I come in here with them on?
Who cares?
Yeah, it was today. We do too much in one day. It becomes 2 days in my mind.
Wow.
This morning I came in here with those things on.
What'd you do with them?
I took them off and put on, I have other shoes here, and I put on other shoes because I was like, my feet are sweating too much. And I was like, I gotta get this stuff. I have it, I ordered it, I just haven't put it on my feet yet. You have to put it on your feet every night though. It's not sexy.
I think, I don't know, it may become a sponsor, so I'm gonna look into it more before I start getting concerned about if it's gonna stop up your feet pores.
Well, it literally,
Carpe, call us.
It literally physically
I don't want to do that.
Clogs, I'm just gonna say, it literally clogs your pores with, I think, some sort of compound, maybe aluminum, don't quote me on that, that then your sweat just finds another way out.
Do you like Crocs?
Not with socks.
So your feet don't sweat in Crocs?
I don't have any.
Well, yeah, you do. You were given the red Crocs the same time I was.
And then I gave them to
I
donated them to the company. Somebody here at Mythical has them.
Yeah.
Size 12.
We're great bosses. I see people wearing my clothes occasionally.
Yeah. If we have clothes that we don't like and we don't want anymore, we give it to our employees. I see my clothes
we
all
don't
the time
dock their
here.
pay. It's an honor system. They dock their own pay.
Yeah, right. You decide what it's worth.
All right, let's take another. Uh-oh.
Hey, Rhett and Link, this is Nico calling from Pittsburgh, PA, and I definitely could not have survived my teenage years without Mountain Dew. Easy way of summing it up, as someone who now graduated high school 8 years ago now, I'm feeling old just saying that, when you're a drummer in a band growing up, you learn that if you want to melt faces, gotta do the do. Gotta have that energy coming from somewhere, especially when energy drinks are not only dangerous, but a little on the pricey side. At least how it was back then, and I know it's pretty much how it is now. But definitely could not have survived it without good old Mountain Dew. That's any variety too. And
all right, Nico.
Sip of Baja Blast here.
Thanks for
guys.
calling.
I think Nico might be a toll booth worker.
Yeah, well, it's
Just
funny.
based on the sounds. I'm just trying to piece together the setting.
If you're going to talk about Mountain Dew,
you might as well be.
There's like engines revving in the background. People are doing the do behind him or all around him.
Yeah, he could be at one of those. Sometimes people will gather in parking lots and play around with remote control. Have you seen how crazy the remote control stuff can get these days? Have you been?
We're talking about the do, man.
I'm just following my instincts today.
It's like you're
Speaking of Mountain Dew, I'm just saying,
no.
have you just been out and about in this town and then all of a sudden it's just like
I've
out
seen
of
some
nowhere?
remote control planes.
No, I'm talking like
drones.
I'm talking like a badass car just comes out of nowhere, and then you're like, where's the dad and the son? Where are they?
Right.
And then you see them.
What you're walking where? In like a parking lot to a Gelson's?
I've been cornered by remote control vehicles 7 times in my time in LA. Sometimes I've been on a trail. Sometimes I've been in a parking lot. Sometimes I've been on the sidewalk. Sometimes I've been walking down the street in my neighborhood. Bam, there it is.
I prefer to be in the thing that's moving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm an advocate. I'm just saying,
You sound like an advocate.
I'm just saying, this is an awareness play. We can relate to this, Nico, though, because we couldn't have gotten through without Mellow Yellow.
Oh God.
I mean, how much Mellow Yellow did we drink?
I mean, we couldn't drink enough of it. Like, we felt like it was like we had an exclusive deal with it.
I guarantee you didn't drink as many as me.
Oh, of course not.
Because I would get home.
I know.
I would get home, and we did not keep them in the fridge because they moved too fast. My mom kept her Diet Coke and caffeine-free Diet Coke, depending on the time of day, in the refrigerator. The Mellow Yellow was kept, you know where it was, on the floor next to the onion and potatoes box. Everybody had that.
Yeah.
And then I would get home from a hot day. I would reach down, I'd pop that thing open, I'd grab a Mellow Yellow, I'd pound the first one, then I'd get a second one and go sit down with it.
Both hot.
Both hot and both full carbonated, sugary, caffeinated drinks. The first, I didn't understand what was happening. We didn't
have the education.
No one told us about caffeine. Like
I would go home and pound 5 cigarettes.
No,
this
is not the 50s.
No.
This is the 80s.
I mean, but it kind of feels like cigarettes, you know?
Well, we didn't know about
in the
sugar.
same way that like we weren't educated on, you just can't pound a bunch of Mellow Yellows like that. It didn't have an impact.
But do you ever remember making the connection between caffeine
and being wired?
And like being, I can't sleep tonight. It must have been those 7 Mellow Yellows I had at dinner.
Never.
How come the internet makes people so much smarter? You know, it makes them dumber too, but just think about how dumb we were, man. We didn't know anything. Were there kids in the 80s who knew about this stuff?
When's the last time you had a Mellow Yellow?
I want to go get one right now.
Every time we talk about this is how this part of the conversation is.
Do you think we could find one right now? They have them in a gas station?
If you go to one of those like 100 soft drink, fountain drink machines.
The Coke
machine, like Five Guys has one.
Coke Remix? What is it called? Coke?
Yeah.
Oh man, they got them in the theaters, at the AMC theaters, I think.
Yeah. Five Guys has one, and you can get a Mellow Yellow Zero.
Yeah, I've had it.
And you know what? I'm tempted to just start ordering those off the internet, but I don't want to. No. I don't want to be drinking a bunch of those.
I'm not a doctor.
I like it being a treat.
I don't think you should make diet soda, or definitely not soda, but I don't think you should make diet soda a part of your daily routine because that diet soda does some stuff to your biome, like your gut biome. And I just don't think you need it in there. Those artificial sweeteners, man, we don't know what they're doing. It might be worse than sugar, probably not, but like, I just have it as an occasional treat while I'm here at the office. Don't get started.
That's what I think too, but I happen to be looking at a Reddit thread. This guy, it might have been on Twitter.
It wasn't a billboard though.
He quit, wasn't a billboard. He said, I quit Diet Coke. I've been drinking it my whole life.
Oh,
I quit for a whole month.
I'm here to report.
My life has not changed for the better. I haven't gotten in better shape. I haven't lost weight.
Well, he went on to say that
I don't feel any different.
I'm not happy anymore.
I'm not happy. It wasn't I'm just not happy anymore.
Yeah, he was
and
like,
then all these people were talking about, hey man, people were like coming into the thread and saying, well, you know, I tried all these things to make my body better and then I got cancer. So drink your Diet Coke. And I was like, gosh, this is like a, what's the word? Like a jaded group of society where they're like kind of snarky and jaded. Can't think of the word.
Snarky and jaded people.
You're thinking of
nihilists?
No, just a little bitter.
Is it the nihilists?
A little bitter. You know, it does suck that it's like if you try to do everything right and you try to be healthy, you gotta choose your moments at least. You're like your happy little indulgences.
I'm not gonna judge anyone for doing it. I'm
drinking but people were like coming out of the woodwork to tell this guy, go back to drinking your Diet Coke.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're
not happy.
The thing you were probably really enjoying in the Diet Coke is the caffeine. There are other vehicles for caffeine. Here's one of them right here. Not a sponsor, but we drink the hell out of this stuff. This yerba mate, that's better for you than Diet Coke. And coffee, they're finding.
Here it is right here.
You know,
coffee.
They're finding now that people who drink coffee, specifically there was a study that said that people who drink coffee sweetened. So people who drink coffee are less likely to get, I think it was cancer. But people who drink sweetened coffee for some reason are more unlikely to, like 30% less likely. Now, that's just one study, but there's other sources of caffeine. But while we're talking about that, and I said the thing about gut biome, I have to also talk about, I've told you about the kefir kick I'm on right now. And I have to tell you.
I love kefir, but I can't get it in a big enough container.
Well, you get multiple of small ones.
I don't like that.
But let me tell you.
There's only like 2.5 servings in the thing of kefir.
Listen, I know you think, you might just think we just went all LA. We did.
I love kefir. It's tangy.
I love yogurt.
Milky.
But and I am not one of these people that's
my mouth is watering right now.
Like talking about like probiotics and like, a lot of probiotics just like, it's kind of BS and doesn't really get through your system or whatever. But let me tell you right now. So I just had this idea that I was gonna get back into kefir because I liked it. But I was like, what I usually do is I get one and I go through it and then it takes weeks to get the second one. It doesn't become a part of my routine.
Yeah, and you go through it quick, right?
And so I just told Jesse, I was like, I would like you to have 3 things. Kefir, kimchi,
okay,
and kombucha.
Oh,
and it's unfortunate those are 3 Ks. There's got to be a better way to refer to them. So I'm working on that. I'm workshopping the way I refer to this because it cannot be the KKK diet because it's not going to be that. Okay,
it can't.
But
you know what? It already exists, probably. This is a sad reality.
So those 3 Ks obviously are all very probiotic. Lots of people just consider these things to be like life tonics, right? And so I was like, I like all 3 of these things. I feel good. But the one that I have not wavered from at all for about 3 months is kefir. Either if I don't have it in the morning, I have it at night, and I get at least a cup. Mm-hmm. Throw some granola in there, throw some berries in there.
Oh, you eat it as a meal. You eat it as a snack.
This is the ticket. For breakfast lately, I've been doing cereal, but instead of milk, it's kefir. Oh, listen, don't write that down because I'm going to put it in my recipe book. But
I don't like this idea, but
okay,
go ahead.
But the thing I'm trying to communicate here is that give kefir a chance. This is what happened.
What happened?
I started taking it. I started eating it. And I didn't have anything in mind other than
make it like Mountain Dew. You started doing it.
I started doing kefir.
Doing the kefir.
And I forgot.
Brilliant marketing, by the way. Mountain Dew it's subconsciously said they're a drug.
Okay, let me. I got to get this out.
Get it out.
You keep interrupting me. Okay, so I start drinking kefir, and then I just kind of forgot that I was doing it, but it had become a daily thing. I'm having a conversation with my therapist, and I told him, I'm like, I'm a generally happy person, right? I'm a pretty happy person. I have never been like diagnosed with depression or anything like that. I go through like anybody, I go through like depressive states or sad states or whatever, but I'm pretty happy. But I kept finding myself over the course of a couple of weeks with no external thing to explain it, being like, I keep realizing that I'm happy. Okay, it was just weird because it hadn't happened before. I'm not the kind of person who realizes that they're happy and like stops and thinks, I'm happy. That's strange. Noted. Yeah. Started talking to my therapist about it. And then I was like, didn't pick up on it in the first session, but then like a couple of weeks later, I was like, the only thing that is different is kefir.
You think kefir's made you happy?
Okay, so okay, you think I'm crazy, and I probably am, but I go on Reddit, your favorite website, and I start searching kefir, and then all these people are saying the same thing. That it has, the other thing I noticed is that, how do I put this mildly? My dookie was good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, to put it bluntly, like I was regulated in a way that I've only been regulated if I started taking supplemental fiber, which I just don't like doing because it's hard to keep up with and it sucks.
Yeah.
But kefir had the same impact on my gastrointestinal system that supplemental fiber did. but also my mood was elevated. And of course, I haven't read, I'm sure you're all like, oh, I know there's all these books about your gut biome and the neurons in your stomach, and there's all this science behind it that I'm not familiar with. But I'm just saying, anecdotally, as just a dude who's been eating a lot of kefir, I'm telling you right now.
You scraped out the sad-causing bacteria and replaced it with
I don't know,
bacteria.
but then literally, I'm not kidding.
You forgot to take
I ran out of kefir like a month ago, okay? I went for 10 days without eating kefir, and I found myself, I woke up one day and I'm like, I'm sad. What's different? And I was like, it's the damn kefir. Got to kefir, told Jesse, we gotta have kefir, we can't run out.
You got back to the kefir?
Got back to the kefir. I'm 2 weeks back into kefir. I'm happy. It's probably totally psychosomatic. I understand that, but I'm saying it could be a placebo effect, but you should try it.
I like it.
But here's the thing.
I like being happy.
Don't stop. Just keep it coming. Keep it going.
Doesn't come in a big enough container. Is there like a cheap version of it?
Get 2.
It's pricey.
Yeah.
I need it in bulk, man.
You can afford kefir.
It's a lot better than Mountain Dew, Nico.
That's ultimately what I'm saying. If we could just get kefir to be caffeinated, maybe that could be a product.
It's drinkable yogurt that makes you happy.
Hey, listen, I swear by it.
Kefir's a keeper.
I could come up with all kinds of funny things to say on how I survived my teenage years, but in all due honesty, I really could not have survived my teenage years without my support group, my friends, my family, because I was a way different person as a teenager than I am now. I hated who I was as a teenager, but I've definitely grown more, like, especially since high school. High school was bad for me, but yeah, I literally could not have survived my teenage years without my friends, because the way my personality was, I probably would have just spiraled into a deep depression, and I'm glad I'm in a way better place than I am now. So thank you for listening, Rhett and Link. Love you guys.
I love this response.
Wow.
Isn't this great?
It might be better than kefir.
I know. That was like kefir in a voicemail.
Yeah.
And he didn't give his name, so I think we could call him Kefir.
Kefir Sutherland just called in to the pod.
Kefir, thanks for sharing that. You make an excellent point that when you're in your teenage years, you are not in your final form. And you can change for the better. And sometimes it's just about weathering the storm of being a teenager to get to the next phase of your life where you can start to pull it all back together, or pull it together for the first time.
I tell my kids this all the time. And I was talking to Locke the other day. He's 18. He's going off to college in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember the context of the conversation. I just remember saying, you have no idea how much you're going to change over the next 4 years. Like, you are going to change more, statistically speaking, over the next 4 years than you will ever change in any additional 4 years, subsequent 4 years for the rest of your life. And I was like, that's exciting. Not that you need to change, but you need to understand just how wet your concrete is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that.
And just revel in that wetness, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets harder and harder and harder.
Well, I don't know, you say revel in it, but it makes me think, okay, you got to be strategic about who you, to Kefir's point.
Oh, you can screw it up, for sure. Yeah.
What you expose yourself to when you're morphing, you're morphing into who you're gonna be at a rate greater than any other point in your life when you're a teenager. So it's like, you gotta be thinking about that. And I mean, you're talking about into college years too, which you're still in the teen years, but who your people are, if makes a big difference.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm so grateful for the friends that we had in high school, and we've talked about them, the friends that we have in college, we're going to Denver in a handful of weeks, we're gonna have a college friend getaway in Denver. The fact that like we're still connected to these people who actually care about us, it's like it's an awesome feeling to know that like you can somebody cares about you and there's no strings attached. You know, you having a support structure is so important, and it's not something that you can just, you know, you can't put I guess you could put a want ad in the paper or whatever the app version of that is now. There's a digital way to do that. Even if you look at Mythical Beasts, I draw lots of comfort and just inspiration knowing that there's people who've connected because of our content, but then it's more about their connections with each other than it is with us now. That's freaking awesome. You know? I mean, whether it's because of us or something else, I mean, yeah, he makes a great point that like, having a few key people in your life that love you and, you know, you can trust makes all the difference in the world. And so I think about the people who don't have that, and it's like, but you can get it. Like, that's the hope in this, is that like, he said, with my personality and what I was prone to at that phase of my life, like, I don't think I would have made it. I wouldn't make it to become the person that I was destined to be, so to speak, if it wasn't for people there along the way to, I don't know, you know, he didn't fill in the gaps, but we all need to do that for ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that
to provide support, direction, fill in the blank.
Inherent in that message is that you don't have to be a teenager for this to be applicable, but regardless of how hopeless you feel at this moment, don't let this moment, these circumstances define. Don't let the present define your future, I guess is a better way to say it, right?
It's so hard to do that.
It's very difficult to do that. That's why people can be helpful in that. But sometimes you, like, because even when it comes to the choices you're making, the whole show me your friends and I'll show you your future, the reason that makes sense, and to some degree, it's not, you know, it's not like an airtight, always true thing, but the reason is that we a lot of times make decisions about who we're going to surround ourselves with based on current needs for acceptance most often, need for belonging. And those things are not bad in and of themselves, but if you're finding acceptance and belonging with people who don't have your best interest in mind, then your future self wishes they could come back to your present self and say, don't make that decision. So that's the thing, try to anticipate what would my future self want me to, what kind of decisions would they want me to make right now? It's very tough to do that, but you have to try. You have to try to, especially when it comes to who you're choosing to associate with.
Yeah, that phrase of like finding your people is something that we use in our home a lot for every stage of life. You know, whether it's Lando assimilating into elementary school, and now moving on to middle school, and then Lincoln moving through middle school and high school, and Lily finding her way and her people in college, like at every stage. Mm-hmm. And then you think about us, like even, you know, like post-college and moving out here to California, we had each other and we had our families, but we had to find a few more friends. We had to find some people. Yeah, that we could count on, you know, and until we did, it felt tenuous, you know, moving out here. Oh, then you just we had a couple of close friends that we kind of jumped into really quickly, and those are very sound decisions, you know. Mm-hmm. Still close to them, but you know, just adding to that group, and it doesn't have to be big, but it's important no matter what. So it's not a teenage thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm so glad that you called in, Kiefer. Let's hear another one.
Hello, Rhett and Link. My name is Savannah, and I could not have survived my teenage years without fan fiction.
What?
Yep. And just so you know, fan fiction doesn't have to be super sexual and weird. It can just be like a normal story about your favorite characters just going on a silly little adventure. And that's the kind of thing that I like to read and write eventually. So I got into fan fiction when I was around like 12, and I started writing at like 13. And then throughout middle school and high school, I wrote a crap ton of fan fiction because I was also homeschooled, so I was very bored. So I actually wrote over 250,000 words up until I started college and got way too busy, which is like 2+ books, I think, roughly, if you average them out. And that's not even a lot compared to most fan fiction writers. So, yeah. I still love writing, but fan fiction is like my weird little hobby that I don't tell anyone about because people hear fan fiction and think sex kink. So, yep, that's it.
Thank you, Susanna. We don't
Savannah.
Savannah?
Savannah.
Savannah.
Yep. Savannah, if you want to call back in and talk about being a furry too, you can debunk some of that stigma.
Oh, come on. You don't know that. They're not always this it's not a
I'm not
the
saying
Venn diagram is not a circle.
It's not. That was my way of saying thank you, Savannah, for dismantling the stigma of fan fiction for me. Fan fiction is not fan friction. It's a subgenre.
Well,
and we don't know that. I mean, our experience with fan fiction is just being uncomfortable reading stuff about ourselves for a gimmick on the show.
I do know someone, and you also know this person, because the people who, especially in fandoms that are fictional to begin with, I mean, it's one thing for there to be fan fiction about two real dudes like us, but I'm talking about like you've got a world that's been built by an author or a TV show or whatever, and then, I mean, that fan fiction, which is basically people just taking the world that's already been built and the characters that have existed and telling new stories that kind of exist within this world. That was a world I didn't know about until we met somebody who actually has contributed significantly to some of those things. And it totally makes sense, first of all. And one of the really exciting things that's happening related to this, and again, I'm not smart enough to be able to explain it or understand it, but something with the blockchain, with blockchain technology,
collaborative storytelling,
is making that, is easing and encouraging that process and inviting more people and incentivizing more people to be involved in that, to actually be able to take narratives and shape them, which is pretty exciting stuff. So I think that those who were the first to begin writing fan fiction were actually just way ahead of the curve in terms of what we're all going to be participating in when it comes to the way that we relate to storytelling in the future. Because the more you can be involved to the point that you're actually manipulating the outcome, influencing the outcome, influencing the stories or telling your own stories, like that's gonna be just the way people interact with stories a generation from now. It's starting now. Again, I'm not really a student of it. I just know smart people who know more about it than I do, who say things and I get 10% of it and can then spit it out like this. But it's exciting.
If you think about it in terms of, favorite book series, Lord of the Rings. There's an incredible world that's been built. And it's a playground. I'm sure that there's got to be fan fiction all around the world of Tolkien, right? So,
of course.
I just find myself, I'm not a reader and I'm not a writer, right? So it's like, do I have to be, what, you laughing at me? I mean, I can read and I can write.
Prove it.
But that is not, that's not central to my identity. It's not one of my major hobbies. You're making me defensive. I'm not a reader and a writer. You can snicker all you want.
What I'm saying is that and also this is something that Mike helped me understand about Dungeons and Dragons, which I didn't really understand the appeal of D&D. But it's essentially
making your own.
It's a collaborative storytelling process.
But my point, what I was getting at was, I assume because I'm so into the world of Tolkien that like, it just seems like there's a barrier to, this is just a fan-generated story. It's not canon. So
it's not Tolkien.
Yeah, so, but like if you look at the Star Wars universe, lots of fan fiction there, absolutely, as well. Like every place you can think of, there's fan fiction. But like with Star Wars, it's not like everything's George Lucas anymore. It's like you look at the Jon Favreau stuff and
isn't the Mandalorian fan fiction? Well, is it sophisticated,
Well,
well-funded fan fiction? But it's fan fiction. Did George Lucas, did the originator of the story come up with it? No, it was like,
right.
Oh, this is a story that
That's
we
what
can
I'm
tell.
getting at.
So what I'm saying is fan fiction is already here.
It's officially sanctioned.
It's just well-funded fan fiction is on Disney Plus or whatever, you know? I'm just saying this is a revolution in storytelling.
But when it becomes canon, like that stuff it's certified.
Yeah.
So then there's like buy-in to, because when it builds a world, and especially with all the Star Wars stuff, part of the fun for me is like fitting it all together.
But all you have to do,
you know,
because I'm not sitting around waiting to write fan fiction.
So fan fiction, there's a lot of fun that's when you don't beyond canon. And that's the part that I haven't never experienced it, so I think that's my barrier to entry.
But you've experienced the curated fan fiction as a person who likes to watch television shows.
I know it could be entertaining, and there's really talented people writing fan fiction, in theory, but I've not experienced it, and I'm just really curious how, if I could get over that hurdle of like, I'm just reading this for the fun of it, but this didn't really happen to this character.
But did the first thing happen to the character?
No, because it's a fictional character.
Do you think that Sam and Frodo are actually best friends?
You know what? One day you'll find out I'm actually smarter than you. You know? That's gonna blow your mind.
Well, first of all, why do you take anything that I said as a critique on your level of intelligence?
You laughed at me for not being a reader or a writer.
The only thing I laughed at was when you said, no, I'm not a reader or a writer. It's like, that's just funny. I thought it was a joke.
It's not a joke.
I thought you were making a funny, I thought it was pretty funny. It was, I guess, unintentionally funny. But what I'm saying
just being me, man.
Is that I feel like my eyes are being open to the possibilities. Not in a way that I'm directly contributing to or experiencing.
You're saying the same thing I'm saying.
But I'm just saying that I think it's pretty cool what's happening, and I think that it's gonna be second nature for our kids and especially our kids' who are gonna grow up in a world in which the lines between the fan fiction that Savannah's talking about and the fan fiction that everyone is experiencing, which is just cool world building and stories that come from that world, the lines are just gonna be blurred, man. And then it's gonna be like, is it good or not? But what you're saying is that somebody has to be in charge. And I think this is where the cool, and again, I don't understand it, the cool sort of blockchain generated, it's curated. It's not completely just like, oh, here's fan fiction that would conflict with this fan fiction over here. But no, the collaborative is creating fan fiction that fits together and doesn't contradict. It's consistent.
Yeah, right.
You're interested in the consistency, which I totally get that.
Right, that matters to me.
And I think it matters to most people, honestly. But I'm just saying that if you get that curated, sort of semi-regulated fan fiction, and then regulated in terms of quality, like
I'm open.
That's an exciting future.
I'm open. And I'm also open to the kinky stuff.
So this is why I could not survive my teenage years without. I don't think it's that crazy, but I'm 19 now, and I still do this. And whenever I was really sad or angry or just, really intense feelings as a teenager, I would crush bath bombs. And my friends would always give me bath bombs thinking I was taking baths. But I would go in my bathroom, after my parents were asleep, and I would just, crush them, with my bare hands. And it was actually really nice. It released a lot of stress. You'd be surprised. But, yeah.
Wow.
I like that. Crushing bath bombs, but not actually taking a bath with them.
Well, you could get a 2-for-1. Crush it and let it crumble into the water.
Yeah, and then the double stress relief.
What do you do when you're angry?
When I'm
physically.
Angry. When I'm angry. When I'm angry. I have taken a walk.
Oh.
I've definitely inadvertently sent Christy on a few walks. Christy goes on walks when I perturb her.
You curse when you get upset. I curse when I get upset.
I curse when I get upset, yeah.
But
when I was a kid, my mom told me to go punch a pillow, which I actually did.
There's no satisfaction. This is what I was getting at. There's no satisfaction in punching a pillow. You remember in my room when you walked into my room and there was that hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the diameter of my heel. That's because I got mad at my brother one time and I kicked like kicked the wall with my heel, and he goes, my heel, boom, got a high arch, so it goes right through. It was that way until.
So it was like a donkey kick.
It was a side. It was sideways.
Oh, like a Bruce Lee.
It was a side kick.
Oh,
and
you also kicked the bleachers when you were playing basketball as a teen and broke your toe.
And I will say,
you're a kicker.
I'm also a puncher, but not a closed fist puncher because I care about my hands. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be vulnerable here. Last week, I was in my own bathroom, and I was going in and out of the closet. Now, I'm a tall man, and I hit my head on door. I would hit my head on more door frames. If they're not regulation, if they're not 6'8", I hit my head on them sometimes. But I've actually gotten really good at not hitting my head on things because I subconsciously lower my head anytime I go through a door frame. But sometimes with an especially short door frame, which for some reason, the frame between my bathroom and my bathroom closet is pretty low. And I normally don't think about this, but I went into the closet, went into the bathroom, then forgot something and did like a pivot where I took one step into the bathroom and turned back around. Bam, hit my head, the crown of my head on the door frame, the metal door frame where the thing slides.
Oh gosh.
And my immediate reaction was to punch it. It was just like
a palm heel strike.
Palm heel strike to the wall next to the door. I didn't hit the door because the door is a big mirror. I don't want to break anything. I don't want to bleed it.
Josh would be proud with the
boom. And it was just like, and Jessie was like Jessie was like 15 feet away, and she was like, somebody's got issues or something like, I don't know what she said.
No, you just hit your head.
But the reason I did it is because I was already mad about something else, and I don't ever remember. You never remember what you're mad about.
That's right.
So
what
I'll say is that I've never hit a person in anger, with the exception of John Carson and John Ensor. And one time that was in your defense. You're welcome.
Okay.
But
I've never hit a person.
And that was like almost 40 years ago. But I've never hit a person in anger, but I have hit a house, like a home, if a wall is part of a home.
I'm not a striker.
I've hit a car. I probably have hit a pole.
Okay.
They never seem to care.
Yeah, I mean, I like crushing a bath bomb.
But this is it. The reason that
just keep them stacked up.
The great thing about
keep
this,
in your pocket.
Punching or kicking sheetrock and giving a little bit gives you a sense of relief. Pillows, they're not fighting back at all. Bath bomb may be the perfect thing because
it's like plaster.
It's like you're destroying it. There's a sense of satisfaction, but nobody's getting hurt except the bath bombs.
Here's one.
Hey, Rhett and Link.
Yo.
So my name's Danielle, and this is going to be a very Gen Z answer. I could not have survived being a teenager without the block button on social media. That thing was my best friend throughout middle school and high school, and I wish there was an in-person version of it. Love you guys. Bye.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah,
The
Danielle.
block button. The block button.
I mean, if I had to experience social media as a teen, man,
you wouldn't be here.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Would have done something too stupid to recover from.
I mean, man, the block button. Yeah, that having a healthy relationship with the block button is probably a really good thing. I've never blocked anybody. You ever blocked anybody?
I've muted. I'm a muter, not a blocker.
Okay. Like how much muting have you done?
Less than a dozen people in my life.
Okay.
So this is not a regular occurrence. The reason, and again, Danielle, if the block button got you through, more power to you. And I know that there's a difference between the blocking and the muting.
Yeah. When you kick the wall between you and your brother's room and he's in there, then you have the added benefit of him knowing that you just put a hole in the wall. But if he's not in there, you just got some anger out. That's the difference between a block and a mute.
Well, and also if you're talking about Twitter, I think I'm right about this. If you block someone, they cannot see your tweets and they cannot they can't tweet about you. Like they can't like put you in their tweets.
Oh, that's nice.
But I know that they can't see your tweets anymore. A mute just means that you can't see anything that they say. So there's a few, like the reason again, this is a little bit different probably for a public figure.
Yeah.
But blocking is, in one sense, it can be, because they know that it happened, it can be seen as
like literally an act of offense.
Yeah. It is defensive, but it's often interpreted as an act of aggression, even though it's not. But because people, it can be incendiary, I guess is what I'm saying. And so if you want to just ignore the fire, you mute. If you want to,
the mute is more about your experience only.
Yeah, right. And so that's the only reason I haven't blocked anybody. But if you
don't want people, I like it is a good point though. If you don't want someone, I guess on Twitter dragging your name into a conversation, then the block is effective with that.
For sure.
In general, I just want to big up boundaries. Saying, what? You're walking through your life, and there's certain types of interactions that you can control how much people penetrate your boundaries. Sometimes you can't, but when you can, it's good to just take a moment and assess, like, what about, where do I draw the line with this relationship on social media or real life? It's just, it's good to say, I am empowered to say, I need to draw the line here. Or there, or wherever it may be.
Agreed.
Danielle, let's hit one more.
Hey, Rhett and Link, this is Jake from Illinois, and I could not survive my teenage years without school assemblies, quite literally, because when I was about a freshman or sophomore, we had a school assembly talking about the dangers of getting out of your car when light poles, or telephone poles rather, fall and you're in your car, because we had a girl that actually got out of her car when this happened, and she's lucky that the wires weren't live still, because otherwise she would have got electrocuted and died. But she lived, and she, along with some other professionals, gave a assembly and informed the students what to do if that was to ever happen to them. Fast forward like 2 years later, maybe a year later, and me and my friends decided to go storm chasing. And sure enough, the telephone poles that we're driving by start falling like dominoes, and we get lucky, and our car is right in between two that fall, so we're trapped in between two, can't go anywhere. And because of the education that we got at this school assembly, we knew to stay in the car and would just wait till help got there to help us out. And it was a wild experience. I was very scared, but hey, I survived my teenage years. Thank you. I'll never forget that.
Wow, Jake.
You got to pay attention to those school assemblies,
and
man.
Now, Jake needs to have a school assembly where he tells people not to go storm chasing, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Because the thing about the wires falling on your car is that if you step out, you're completing the circuit with the ground, and it's gonna go through you.
He's trying to get to the ground.
Ooh-wee. Wow. So I think that's a great way to end this discussion, is by reminding people, if you're in a car with a rogue power line draped over you, don't get out of the car. Wait for help to come. Take it from Jake.
Do you remember anything from a school assembly? Only thing I remember from a school assembly is that one from the prom.
Oh yeah.
Where the guy would come in and show all. Do they
Slideshow.
still do that? Slideshow of people
intoxicated people
drunk driving,
who then have been maimed.
Good
killed.
God, there's things I cannot get out of my mind.
Yeah.
And I got to say right now, it was effective. I wasn't about to drive drunk. Because I wasn't
especially on a moped.
Because I wasn't even drinking, but like. Yeah, man. Like I think anytime I am faced with the opportunity to drive while intoxicated, which is not often.
You think about that. That's good.
The first thing comes to mind is this is really stupid. Don't do this. And the second thing is that daggum school assembly in 1996 before the prom.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give a rec, but first I just want to give a teaser to next week's Ear Biscuit. Rhett's gonna. How do I put this?
Wow.
There's gonna be a big episode next week.
Teaser.
Where Rhett's gonna unleash some news that, honestly, I think it'd be good for us to process it together.
Okay.
So be sure to come back next week.
And I will say that
for some news.
I won't be. This won't be breaking the seal if you follow me on social media.
Right. So
you probably already know about this. You probably already know about it right now.
If you know about his project.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk all about that.
His
why
personal
it's
project. We'll go into all the details next week here on Ear Biscuits. Hashtag Ear Biscuits, let us know what's going on. I'll leave you with a rec. You wrecked this to me, you may have wrecked it on the podcast.
I think I did, but I can't remember.
I have to wreck this because I finally got around to watching it a few nights ago. The documentary called Beauty is Embarrassing about the artist Wayne White. If you're a creative person and you want to this is just a profile of an artist who he's just got this artistic ethos about him that's just very inspiring. He designed a lot of the puppets for Pee-wee's Playhouse, did a lot of other things. He's an eclectic creator of art. And it's just a fun podcast to just be introduced to Wayne White.
Podcast?
I said podcast. I'm just
not
podcast.
A podcast.
It's a documentary. Yeah, it's just like an hour and an hour and a half.
Very inspiring, very inspiring character.
Yep, Beauty is Embarrassing. If you're into artistic profiles, this is a fun one.
Thank you for your voicemails. Keep leaving them. Ask us questions. Participate in the prompts that we put out on social media. Tell us what you think, what you want, what you fear, what you love. 1-888-EARPOD-1.
And you might get featured at the end of an episode, just like right now.
So basically, I'm just going to say I could not have survived my teenage years without Cheese Whiz, Rhett. I know you know what that one means.
Hi, Rhett and Link. I could not have survived my teenage years without scrambled pay-per-view channels. If you know, you know.
Hey, Rhett and Link. Long-time listener, first-time caller. To answer your prompt of what could I not live without as a teenager, I'd have to say you guys. It's kind of cheesy, but I've been watching you for a long time, since I was real little, about 7. And I've really loved growing up with you guys, and you've been like parental figures to me. But if you wanted a real answer, pornography.
To watch more Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist on the right.
To watch the previous episode of Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist to the left.
And don't forget to click on the circular icon to subscribe.
If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for being your mythical best.